Welcome back to the Clubhouse, and for those of you just joining us, welcome to the Tribe. We are a group of FSU alumni obsessed with the culture, the gear, and the game of golf. From breaking down tour news to roasting our own weekend blow-ups, no topic is out of bounds. Grab a drink and settle in. This is the Tea Time Tribe. Welcome back to the Tea Time Tribe. But before we get into anything else, I think would be un-American for us not to acknowledge the men and women of Team USA getting a bunch of medals. I think we finished second in the running of total medals, but I think the two most important were the ones we won in hockey, taking down our neighbors to the north, both in overtime, nonetheless.
Suck it, Canada.
Yeah, you can say that again.
Tough,
it was incredible to watch.
Suck it.
Yeah. As a casual hockey fan, that was high drama. Never a dull moment. That was good.
Very exciting. Time.
Yeah.
What did you think of the 3-on-3? I know there was a little skepticism on it's not really hockey, but I thought it was amazing.
Yeah. I think it's fun, and it's, at that point in the game, everyone's tired, right? Like a regulation hockey game, everyone's beat to shit. So if you can just get shorter lines, less time on the ice, it's obviously way more exciting too, right? Like it's like 3-on-3 basketball. It's just easier to follow too. I feel like where it's 3-on-3 instead of having 5-on-5. I could barely keep up with the puck. In 5-on-5, it was a little easier. 3-on-3, and it worked. So, I mean, we've seen playoff hockey go like 4 or 5 overtimes when they're at full strength, and it's let's just get it. You know what I mean? Like the World Cup eventually goes into a shootout if they have to. Hockey didn't want to do that, which is fine. So let's just make it 3-on-3. And I mean, if they I know it was a golden goal. If they wanted to tweak it and be like, all right, it's a 10-minute period, 3-on-3. Whoever the winner is after that. If you want to make it more fair, so everyone gets more of a chance, both teams, fine. But
no,
I thought it was fun. It's the only way I would tweak it. But I'm fine with it being 3-on-3. It doesn't need to be 5-on-5.
I don't have much of a comment, honestly. I'm even more of a fair weather hockey fan than John is. So I enjoyed it. I watched it. Watched the final game in between matches this weekend at my member tournament, and everybody was watching. Everybody was on the edge of their seats, and it made for a great afternoon round of golf with a lot of USA chants and a lot of "fuck you, Canada." There were a few Canadian members at the club, and those a lot of "fuck yous" were being thrown around,
as it should.
Fun,
That's tough.
Fun atmosphere.
All right, so for this episode, we'll recap the Genesis. It was the second signature event of the season. We'll be ending with the Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches at PGA National, and then in between, we'll get into some golf news from the last week. So jumping right into it, Genesis, Jacob Bridgeman gets his first PGA Tour win, held off a charging Rory, and you could make the argument a charging Kurt Kitayama. I think he finished, he shoot 64, I think, on Sunday. It looked like for a while there that Bridgeman was going to kind of just run away with it. Not necessarily because he was playing well, but, I think towards the start of the back nine, I think he still had like a 4-shot lead or something. I think Rory turned it on, shot 32 on the back nine, but it looked like it was just going to be like a race for second at that point.
Yeah. Number one, I think this is the most exciting that the Genesis has ever been, for me at least. For the pin placements that they had him in, you didn't hear nearly as many guys complaining about how ridiculous the greens were. They had them at good speeds. They had the pins in good positions, and the conditions were just pristine. And weather played a bit of a factor, which I think helped ease up the pace on some of the greens on Thursday, Friday. But the finishing Saturday, Sunday, especially on Sunday, seeing Rory chip in on, what was that, 12? Is that 12 or 13? That he made it out of the bunker was just electric. And then who's it? Not Bridgeman, but was it McNeely that made the hole in one almost at the exact same time? Somebody made a hole in one almost back to back. I'll find who it was. But seeing that a Sunday like that was a blast. Bridgeman, I know in the group we were talking about Bridgeman not being able to hold off any of these big names right behind him, and he almost blew it. He did, but he was able to hold on. And honestly, Rory missed a few putts coming down the stretch too to kind of put him into contention or take to take the outright lead. So chips fall where they may. Good to see. First time winner, but I go back to something we've talked about in the past. I honestly think it's better for golf for the big names to be winning more tournaments so that you have more of the contention amongst the top players in the world. But yeah, that's just one man's opinion.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, I mean, a magical week for him, Jacob Bridgeman. I think his lead, the biggest lead he had over the weekend, certainly on Saturday, I think he had a 6-stroke lead at one point, like late on Saturday heading into Sunday. So like you mentioned, Eric, he was running away with it. He wasn't slowing down. He started off Sunday with a couple of early birdies too. So it really seemed like he was just going to kind of cruise, even with Rory and Kitayama just playing their ass off on Sunday, posting a really, really low number. I didn't know too much about him, heading into this weekend. Apparently, Clemson grad, really, really decorated career, ACC champion there. So we shouldn't be totally surprised at his early success. It's good to see Tiger out there roaming around the tournament. Riviera, Ian, you mentioned it. Perfect conditions over the weekend, so we saw a lot of low scores. Usually we see the winner kind of in the like 12 to 14 range, under range, I feel like, in past years. But Bridgman flirted with the tournament record at one point. I think it was 20 under. So he was close to beating that or tying it. I don't get it's certainly like a nice piece of land, right? But Riviera, a lot of people just glaze the shit out of this course, right? Like, it's just like super nice, all these things. It's kind of bland to me. It's got a couple of really cool holes. I think 10 might be one of my most favorite, like, short par fours in the world. Truly a risk reward type hole. Was it 6, the par 3 that has the bunker right in the middle? It's kind of a cool one too. But otherwise, nice course, kind of mundane to me. Finishing hole 18, super cool with the amphitheater in the back there. That's nice. We're going to be seeing a lot more of Riviera in the coming years. They're hosting the U.S. Women's this year. They got the Olympics in 2 years there. And then 31, they got the men's U.S. Open. So they've got 3 huge events in the next 5 years. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of this course going forward.
It'll be interesting to see how they set up the course for those majors and the Olympics, because I agree with you. I think Riviera has more of the allure of like the name and the location, not necessarily for the course itself as like a pebble would kind of. So yeah, I mean, I'd be interested. I'm sure they're going to raise the rough for the Opens. It'll be interesting how they set it up for the Olympics. I think that's going to be the biggest question mark, for me when it comes to how they set up the course for some kind of international play like that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, John. I mean, any course in the Los Angeles area or close to the Los Angeles area is going to be strapped for real estate, and it's very similar to LACC. Like, there's all of this allure behind the course, but in reality, it's not quite a pitch and putt. But there's really not enough room for them to expand that course any more than they already have. And with guys hitting it as far as they do nowadays, they're just going to make this look even more like a pitch and putt every year. Now, the greens there are really the thing that protect them the most. A lot of them are turtle backed that you just don't get. You can't see on TV, which I think is also an aspect that hurts the ratings, because even just right before we got on here, I was watching a little bit of the Golf Channel, and they had like they had Big Dick Rick out there walking through each shot on the front 9 that he played for his practice round, and just talking through every shot that he was hitting for his first practice round out there. And a lot of the holes he was hitting like mini driver off the tee, just like, or 5 wood, right? Just because I don't really need driver here. Hit a nice little squeeze cut around the corner. It's all about placement here. Want to leave myself a good approach shot into the green, even laying back some to have for him, because he's not quite a super long hitter. He had a couple of 4 irons in, but really not that much at the end of the day.
I would imagine for the Opens and for the Olympics, kind of to piggyback off on that, Ian, it's probably going to be what we're normally seeing at the U.S. Opens of dry greens, fast greens, and, location off the tee for your approach shots is going to be the make it or break it probably.
Unfortunately, it's a Brian Harmon special type of course. Like, just kind of dink it down the middle of the fucking fairway. Just dink it down the middle of the fairway, and you hit your stock iron shot, or you hit your stock 3 wood, because he hits it about the length of a swimming pool. But and then make a putt, right? Waggle a few times and then make a putt. But yeah, I mean, to your point, those greens are gonna be slick, very slick. So if you're not precise, you're gonna get penalized for sure.
They're obviously not going to be able to do anything for the Women's Open this year, but given the 2 years they have for the Olympics and then the 3 years after that, do you see at any point of them trying to redo some holes or reshape some holes or try to change a course in any fashion?
They did, right? I don't know if you guys saw that Victor Hovland put the tree in for number, I think it was like 11 or 12 that they cut off his he was hitting into the other fairway. What was it? He's done, forgot what the line was, but he's done more to plant trees than the U.S. government has or something.
Yeah, that was funny.
But yeah, anyways, yeah, they can't like I said, they can't lengthen it. They could let the rough grow in on the fairways a little bit more, but the rough's already super thick. That's really one of the biggest gripes that the tour players I've heard have is, you're hitting out of just seaweed, and they have spotters out there, so you're going to find your ball on tour. But us Joe Schmoes go out there, we're losing quite a few golf balls if we're not in the fairway.
Yeah. All right. Any other Genesis Invitational news or comments? Or are we moving on?
But thank you for the reminder. You brought up Pebble Beach. I need to tweet the USGA again today about number 18.
You need to stay on that.
Bring it back to a par 4. USGA.
So kind of segueing out of Genesis, but kind of staying a little bit on topic. Tiger had his press conference, and then I believe in one of the interviews, he kind of confirmed it, but he threw out the whole idea of the Masters could be in play for him. I don't know how real of a possibility it is, but for him to say something like that got everyone in the golf world just, are we going to see Tiger playing competitive golf at the Masters? So what are your thoughts? Do you think it's a real possibility?
Yeah.
John,
I think it's definitely a real possibility. He said he's full go as far as swing the club. It's this so he had his Achilles redone last year. I want to say maybe like July or August, something like that. Achilles injuries and the surgery, the recovery, I feel like year over year just gets quicker and quicker. Like used to be like a full year you were out, but now it's like 6 or 7 months. That's for people playing like contact sports and stuff like that. So for golf, I mean, I don't know that, Achilles recovery coupled with his existing car injury, leg injury, how that's going to impact him, right? So I think it's back to the leg. Like, can he physically walk for 4 straight days? And, the practice rounds leading up to that, and how that's going to have a toll on him, physically, if he can keep up and have the stamina to compete. He obviously knows that course better than anyone on the planet right now. So that's not an issue. It's going to be an issue if he can just, if he can walk it, right? So I don't know when the practice, and the next month they open up, some practice dates before the tournament starts. I'm sure he'll be out there to kind of give it a go, see how he does as far as, just like walking a single round there, walking 18, getting around, seeing how he does. I think we'll have a better barometer then, and I'm sure that, we'll have paparazzi, the jet trackers, seeing if he's flying his jet from Florida up to Augusta for a day. And then we'll get the, like a weird random, his Twitter, his Instagram, his foundation saying like, I'm all go or not ready yet. And that'll probably be like, I feel like mid-March, we'll just get that announcement. I don't think it'll keep people in the dark up until like the start of the tournament.
For me, I feel like you guys heard about the underground of Augusta National, like how they have like all of these, it's literally like Disney. So Augusta National has underground, has these I know tunnels. The irony's not lost to me that the Masters has a bunch of tunnels running underneath it, which is a little bit on the border there. But yeah, I think Tiger's definitely going to be using some of those tunnels to bring him from point A to point B. He's going to have carts that people aren't going to be able to see, so that he doesn't have to walk as far and can limit the exposure of his legs or the impact on his legs. If there's any place that can facilitate anything and everything that he needs, it's Augusta National, right? And he knows that place like the back of his hand. So there's nowhere else that I feel like he feels more comfortable than Augusta National. And even if he doesn't have a quote unquote warm up round, this is very similar to when he originally launched his Sunday red line, right? Like he's there to make a statement, right? He's there to do something. Now, what that something is, I don't quite know yet, but I hope it is to compete. That's my hope.
But aren't they opening the patch, I think it's called? Or whatever executive course of par 3 that he's putting there?
Yeah. Yep.
So that's a reason. So. But I think the interesting thing that we were texting about when we saw the press conference was, do we think this opens the door for him to possibly try playing in a event a week or two before to see how his body holds up? I think to your point, John. So is there a possibility that we see Tiger before the Masters just to see how he's competitive? Because we know he's the kind of guy that he's going to try to go. If he's going to play in the Masters, he's going to go in there thinking, I have a chance to win. He's not the guy that's going to go in there just to play, to show face and to play 2 rounds. Like he's going to go in there and try to compete. So that kind of opens the door of, well, if he goes into another tournament, he's not going to go into a PGA Tour event to warm up. He's going to go in there also wanting to win.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to look at the schedule, see what the tournaments are Masters. But yeah, like Ian said, I think that he could show up without a warm-up tournament, quote unquote, if he got a couple of rounds in before the tournament starts. He's going to be there anyway. The past champions dinner, that's Tuesday night. Shout out to all the people going to there. They're going to get some nice, great Northern Ireland delicatessens, whatever the hell that is. We'll talk about that later when Masters Week comes up. So yeah, I think if he can get through a round or two there, relatively pain-free next month when he practices, when he's not, doesn't shoot 85 or whatever it is, I think he's going to go. He's just, the itch is there. This is his favorite tournament. He loves it. He's going to play.
I'm looking at the schedule here, and he's obviously not playing at the Cognizant this week. He's not going to play at the Arnold Palmer. The only other 2 I could see him potentially playing is the Players, but I think that's too big of an event for him and too early.
It's pretty flat though. The Players it's not as bad as some of the other ones. Now he's said in the past that there are a few hills that he's got to climb, but there are only like 3 or 4 hills on that entire course. Like it's a swamp. It's not, you're not walking up and down a lot. So it could be an opportunity.
But I don't see him playing in Valspar, the Houston Open, or the Valero, Texas either. So
no, definitely not.
Maybe we won't see him before. Maybe he'll just show up at Augusta, have a tee time.
Tell me, could happen.
I think we would all very much enjoy that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Hypothetical here, if he does compete in the Masters, does that open up the door for other majors or other events for the rest of the year?
See,
that's a question. What point does he continue playing the majors throughout the rest of the year? I think if he's, you say top 25 or top 50? I think if he goes top, I think if he goes top 25 at the Masters, he plays every other major.
See, I was going to say if he makes the cut at the Masters, if he plays Masters and makes the cut, I think he's game for potentially more events the rest of the year. And there's enough of a break between the Masters and the PGA that he can rehab and get his body back.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, you go from beginning of April to mid-May.
Yeah, you got over a month. Yeah,
and then you got another month from PGA to U.S. Open, and then you got basically another month until the Open. Are we starting to see a trend of Tiger Ryder Cup 2027?
No.
God.
No, absolutely not. He could be the captain. Yeah, captain, but there's no chance. No chance he's playing in the Ryder Cup.
It could be. It might be a hot take for me. I could see it happening if he plays well.
I'd give you 5,000 to 1 odds.
I'll take it.
that he doesn't.
The verbal contract, it's on a podcast.
Max bet $1.
Max bet.
Right.
Oh, God.
Other news, the DP World Tour has granted 8 live players to basically play both tours. And the biggest news of that was the name that was left off of that list, which was Jon Rahm. I don't know if anyone saw this coming. I know there were appeals happening and all this litigation and stuff, but what do you think the timing of it and leaving Jon Rahm's name off has in this whole live golf debate?
I don't know. That's weird.
Well, he's very adamant that he doesn't want to pay any fines, right? Like Jon Rahm. right? Like he's mentioned that he's racked up like $3 million worth of fines since he's joined Live. So I think his thinking is it's going to work itself out, one. And two, if it ever comes down to like paying the fines, like Liv's going to take care of it maybe. I don't know. He's supposed to try out for that tour now, him and Bryson. It sounds like the 8 that they let in have been paying. I don't know if they paid all the fines, but they paid some of them at least, from what it sounds like. So they kind of sounds like they rewarded them by saying, hey, you can have whatever the status is with the World Tour and on Live. Jon Rahm, again, is in a very elevated position because of his, winning the majors he's won over the last 5 years. He's into a lot of them already for the next couple of years going forward. So he doesn't have to worry about that. I don't know if this precludes him from playing in future DP World Tour events, like going forward this year and next year. I didn't get that far in the article, so I don't know. He's kind of in John's in his own unique position, certainly, just based on the way he's played the last couple of years.
Well, yeah, the article here says that of the 8 guys basically agreed to pay all outstanding fines, participate in a set number of DP World Tour events, along with the associated media activity and promotion, and they had to withdraw all pending appeals, which I get, again, to your point, those 8 guys, they don't have the elevated status that Jon Rahm does. Now, DP World Tour did come out and basically say that these were explicit releases and they only apply for 2026 and doesn't set a precedent for future iterations, which is kind of more or less on pace with what PGA Tour did, because they can make up any rules they want at any time. Well, to me, it's more, did they want to include Jon Rahm and he just said, no, I'm not going to pay the fines, and that was kind of the cutoff for him? Or did he just, to your point, did he just basically was like, I don't even need to be involved in this. I'm on Live and that's that. And I'm paying the majors.
I think, John, to your earlier point, I think he's going to wait until Live pays for it, because it's an admission of guilt, right? If you pay the fines. And Jon Rahm has fuck you money like there's no tomorrow, right? So he could pay it very easily. And so it comes down to principles for him. But I shouldn't have to pay for something that I don't believe I made a mistake of. He's a fiery guy. So I think once he puts his mind to something and he says that this is my stance, I don't think he's changing.
Yeah, I think right to your point right there, like when he joined Live, I'm sure this was a big discussion point, right? Like any future issues, litigations with the DP World Tour, you guys are handling this. It's not coming no money out of my pocket. And I'm sure that they promised him, yeah, we'll take care of it. Now we've gotten to this point, and it sounds like they certainly haven't taken care of it yet.
No, definitely not.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's just waiting for them to come out and release a statement saying they'll, take care of it. But what does it say about these other 8 guys? Right? They're like, all right, well, not good enough, or it wasn't in your contract. You guys are on your own. The golfers in that, as good as he is, elevated as he is, all contracts are different. He gets preferential treatment because he's good. Sorry, it's just the way that works, especially on that tour.
It's interesting.
As he should. I mean, I don't. Yeah. Well said. Well said, John.
It's interesting to me though, because if the fines were the sticking point, and he more or less probably told Liv, like, you're paying and I'm not going to have any part of it, it's not going to be out of my pocket. Does that mean Liv just didn't want to pay this $3 million? And I guess back to what you said of this kind of is admission of guilt, more or less, that Liv didn't want to be a part of as well. But wouldn't you also say that these guys that are on their tour that say, hey, I'll pay the money so I can go play on a tour, isn't that already kind of more or less throwing Liv under the bus? That like, look, maybe we made a mistake. We just want to play on both tours. We want to play and get world ranking points and stuff like that. Like even though Liv has already gotten world ranking points now, albeit only top 10 of each tournament, these guys still want to leave. So is that we made a bad decision and we want to continue competing? Or is that we want to leave?
I don't think it's if I can jump in, I don't think it's necessarily either, because some of these guys, don't know all the way up top of my list, or that list, probably they saw that money and they were just like, hey, if it comes down to it, I'll figure it out. And like, if I get, fined X amount of dollars, I'll figure it out. Like Liv's, blessed me with this honeypot. It probably wasn't for a lot of them, probably wasn't a part of the negotiation when they joined Liv. They were just like, hey, just give me the money, I'll figure it out. So for them, it was, we'll just make it go away, pay the fine. Again, different cat, different elevated status, all treatment, the whole thing. So he's in his own category. So it's kind of makes sense that they were like, yeah, well, we have an opportunity, which they probably didn't even know that this was even going to be an opportunity for them to have this kind of status. And they're like, well, we got a lot of money, so we can afford to do this, and we'll take advantage of it type deal. You're like, all right, look at this.
Yep. I concur, doctor.
It was a little funny to me that one of these 8 names was Elvis Smiley that just won on Live, whatever their last event was in Riyadh. So his fines were probably like $1,000 and he just won.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, sure, I'll go on DP World Tour. Yeah, absolutely.
Say, yes. He's new, so he couldn't ramp that big of a tab yet.
All right. Ian, how was your member this week?
Member was fun, man. Came in second in our flight, which sucks because we didn't make it to the horse race, which horse race is all flight winners. So there were eight flights and about 8 teams in each flight. We lost by a single point, and points are won or lost by winning points in each match. And you win a point by winning a hole. It's like blaming a kicker for missing the final field goal, right? My partner Tony, he played really well, and I played for a 12 handicap right now. I played out of my mind. Had an eagle and had about I think like 6 or 7 birdies on 5 9-hole matches. So it was nice. It was nice to see. Yeah, but he missed a few putts. I skull fucked a few wedges over a few greens. But
typical.
Yeah. But we won 4 out of 5 matches. So that's what I'll rest my cap on. It was something that we grinded out. The only thing I didn't like about the format was that you didn't get a point for actually winning your match. So I don't know why they called them matches if you didn't actually win points for.
So you could
match.
technically come out of a match winning 9 points.
No, it was a cap of 3. So +3 or -3. So if you're going to cap at +3, -3, to me at least, personally, to me, a loser, right? Second place. But to me, you should get a point for winning your match if you're going to cap the amount of points that you can win. So technically, if you win your match and you win by 3, up 3 with 2 to play, right? You should be able to get another point for that win, right? And sure, you can give a half point for a tie, but if that were the case, we would have come in first place because the team that beat us by one point actually lost 2 of their matches. So that's where I'm like,
yeah, that's weird to say you won 4, lost 1, and you came in second.
Yeah, it's like, come on. I don't know if I agree with that format, but like I said, I've spoken like a true loser, not agreeing with the rules of the game. But no, it was a great time. The West Orange Country Club put on a great event. Tony and I won 5 skins over the 2 days. So some good skins money, some good pro shop credit for coming in second. And it was fun watching the horse race. I'll put up some content on our Instagram just to see how much fun that is. Where the horse race, for those who don't know, all those flight winners, they all go out and they tee off at the same time. So you've this time you had 4 teams. So 8 players teeing off on number 1, and then number 9 comes back the other way. So they had 4 teams teeing off on the other side, and those were the 4 top flights, and then the 4 bottom flights, and then 2 teams from each then match up and then go on to the next round where they played number 10, which is a par 5. So fun to see, some of these guys that aren't long hitters, what their strategy was, and it was the horse race was modified alternate shot. So you got to both players got to tee off, and whoever's tee shot you took, the next guy had to play in. I had to play that next shot, and then the partner played the next shot after that. You could really fuck your partner over if you hit a poor shot. So there's not only pressure of wanting to win, but there's also pressure of not wanting to let your teammate down. And you saw that. I mean, there were some guys that on the first hole missed. I think 3 out of the 4 teams missed 4 5-footers to make par. Now, not the easiest green in the world, and a couple of them were downhill breakers, but should probably make that. But no, it's fun. And then to decide who goes on, the 3 teams that missed their putts to make bogey ended up having to do a chip off. So they then had to do a chip off. A couple of those guys sculled their chips, so I felt their pain there. But again, it was just it's great fun, man. And everybody crowds around the green, so you got you've got like 20 golf carts that are just sitting around the green watching them play. So you've got that added pressure. So fun event, well run event, and excited for the fall member as well, and hopefully the member guest. You never know, could be us in the fall as well.
There's nothing better than a horse race at the end of one of those events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and everybody's drinking. They had the cart girl out there with a full cart of beverages. So
nice.
They did it right. They knew how to do it.
They believe in capitalism. Foreign concept.
Yes, they do.
Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches. I don't know why they changed the name of it.
We haven't made it big enough, so we're not sponsoring it yet. Someone's got to pay the purse. I'd love to. Be great.
Fair.
Let's be cognizant of that.
I was looking earlier, and before we hopped on, I saw that Bridgeman and I forget who else UD'd and already dropped out, which now there's only one guy playing in the top 30 of the world.
Shane Lowry?
No, Ryan Gerard. Shane Lowry is technically 31.
Dang, he's fallen. Good Lord.
I remember the days of Justin Thomas, Ricky Fowler, and all the well-known guys playing in this event. I don't know if it's because of the signature event. They just had two back-to-back. It's the first event on the East Coast from the West Coast. It's such a good course in my eyes, especially with those finishing holes. And no offense to any of these players, but this is one of those events that I want to see some of those guys competing in.
Yeah, that's a victim of scheduling for sure. I mean, you've been all out west. That's a long flight, right? Like LA to Miami or down to South Florida. You're getting in. Let's just hypothetically say, you leave right after the tournament. Say you're lucky, you get on a flight like 6, 7 o'clock East Coast time. You're not landing back home until at least midnight, 1 a.m. this morning. So, checking in late, today's kind of a rest and recover day. As opposed to if you're closer, you can get more practice time than on Monday. And couple that with the jet lag, you're 3 hours different. So this is all just like a recovery day basically. And then you got Tuesday, Wednesday, and you're back on. You're playing again. So this is definitely scheduling. This term's a victim of the PGA Tour schedule, and has been, I feel like, for the last couple of years. Just hasn't been very, very strong fields recently. Even with all of the guys living in Jupiter and living down South Florida, this is it's a home game for them, quote unquote. We're still not getting a lot of those guys playing. Excited to see Brooks playing. He's back in the fold. He's playing this week. Another South Florida guy. So curious to see how he's going to play. Look at the odds. I think he's definitely like a top 10 favorite to win this week. My memory serves.
He's got to be. I was just looking at the schedule. I didn't even realize Arnold Palmer's next week.
Although a lot of those guys aren't going to play this week, but Monday apparently. This could be different, but it's always the way it works out. As a member guest at Seminole. So a lot of those guys are playing in that on Monday. Tom Brady, is playing with like Tony Finau or trying to think who else. Rory's dad is a member down there, so he's gonna. I don't know if Rory's playing with him or someone else. So it's always like that's the best field, and it's a better field Monday than it is in the tournament.
It's a beautiful course, and it's a beautiful piece of property. It's a place that the players could bring their families down to. To your point, John, yeah, it's a victim of the calendar, and it just doesn't make the top. Just doesn't make the top of the list. So I don't blame them, but yeah, going down and playing it myself. You also see how hard it is for your average Joe Schmo, number one, to get to. It's not an easy course to get to your point, just from a travel and location in Florida perspective. It's in between a lot of cities, right? In between a lot of the hubs. And there's a lot of restaurants around it, but they're all super fucking pricey, man. Everything down there is just so pricey. Talking to my pops about it, he said the reason is because the people who live there, they don't cook for themselves. Like nobody there cooks for themselves. They just all go out to eat for like every meal of the day. So, or they have their own private chefs. So all the restaurants know that they can charge a premium, and all the hotels know that if you're there for one of two reasons, right? You're there for some type of conference or event or to play golf. That's really it. So they can charge a premium too. So it's a pricey place to go to if you're a fan, and it's tough to get to if you're a tour player.
Right there with you in the fact of it's one of my favorite courses I think that I've played. And I remember when we played it, we got like an afternoon tee time, and the wind was into us on number 9 tee, and that was a monster of a hole. And I keep going back in like the course, just thinking about it. And I think the front 9 doesn't get as much credit of how hard and difficult it is because you have the back 9, those final 3 holes that everyone always talks about. But the front 9 there is just as hard, in my opinion.
Yep. Yeah. 100%. It's just so fucking tight. It's so tight. And there's no protection either. Yeah, there's some houses here and there, but the minute your ball gets above the house line, which there aren't a lot of like high rise in that area either, your ball is just going, it's tailing. And then, there's a shit ton of water everywhere just to add insult to injury. But the greens are, I will say the greens are fair. So if you can get to the green, they're big. They are undulated, but they're predictable. So if you play with the caddy, you can make your way around the greens, but you got to get to the green first.
John, have you played PGA National?
I have not, no. So you guys take it away. Have not played it. Just seeing it on TV. I do remember. A couple of years of this tournament, there have been some not so high scores. Like 8-9 under goes the winner. And I know that's you guys talked about it. It's weather dependent. So if it gets windy down there this week, it could be treacherous. So yeah, excited to see. Even though it's not a loaded field, it's a good tournament to get familiar with some not so household names, so we could go start a run and have a good year this year.
All right, who wants to lead us off? I'm not even going to say that our tribe bet from last week that we're just gonna throw that out in the garbage. Worst one of the year.
It looked it's one of those things where it's very painful because it has obviously step one is like having all the guys make the weekend, right? And this is really even more especially painful because it was a limited field and only like 15 people didn't make the cut out of like the 80 or whatever it was. So everyone had a chance, like especially Burns and Hall. They had a decent first round, like didn't do anything too crazy to like play themselves out of the tournament. Hall just had like a blow up like 2-hole stretch that took him out on Friday. I don't even know what happened to Burns, but he was kind of in the same boat. So that was just so painful. And anything can happen on the weekend. We saw a ton of movement, obviously, like over Saturday, Sunday. So they're just, yeah. But yeah, if we ever win a bet, that's all we're going to talk about then the following episode. It's just going to be 30 minutes of us just talking about how great we are at what we do. So maybe next week. So I'll be cognizant of that
attitude.
John.
All right, with that, John, why don't you lead us off?
So I went back and forth on this because I was trying to figure out who played at the Genesis and is now finding way back playing this tournament. I don't think it's a ton of people, but certainly some. And some of the favorites played in the Genesis. I think Keith Mitchell played this weekend. He's down there. He's one of the higher favorites. I'm avoiding him. I'm avoiding Kashmir Keith because of the travel, even though he has played there well before. Going off a little bit off the cuff here. I don't think he played this past weekend. At least I didn't see his name anywhere. Haotong Lee, because why not?
Who sent the thing that didn't he say that he learned a lot of English from Kevin Hart?
Yeah.
It's a good pick. I like it.
Yeah. I don't think he played this week,
guy.
so he's fresh. He should hopefully have gotten there in plenty of time and has adjusted to the time zone and all that.
Ian, you got a sigh. No.
Yeah. So I'm going directions here. So I like Chris Kirk. One back in 23. He's got fairly high odds. Vegas kind of likes him. But I also really like my boy DB, Daniel Berger. I think if it gets windy this weekend down there, I like the piercing ball flight. He plays a lot of courses like that on the regular. You know what? I'm going Daniel Berger. Go Noles.
There you go.
Go Noles. Do I follow up said Go Noles with another? I think I need to.
Is there more than one other? Brooks.
That's what I'm talking about.
I don't know if there was like a Luke Clanton or someone was lingering back there.
No. There is Luke Clanton, but
so he probably should be playing.
I was going to throw a real big loop and potentially pick Blades Brown.
Oh, is he playing?
He is. But given the fact that Ian took Berger, Brooks is playing.
Should it be a Florida State? How epic would that be if our first win? I feel like we need to do a separate bet.
Just basically take out Haotong Lee and put in Luke Clanton.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Tribe special.
Well, I will say, with those three guys, we're at basically 17-1 odds. If we threw in Luke Clanton for another one, we'd be at just shy of 30-1 odds.
The tribe only. Okay.
Something to think about. Maybe that'll be our weekend. Maybe if they all make the cut, maybe we'll.
I was going to say, I don't know if this is a Clanton type of course, but it could be very well. I'll be wrong.
He grew up down South Florida, so
That's true.
played a lot of courses like that. So yeah, it might be our weekend play. See if they make the weekend. Come back to that.
Yeah, we were all just very taken aback by two of our guys missing the cut in a short field that we just didn't even consider putting in another one. Berger. All right.
It's out there.
I will wait till I get our profit boost, so I'll be a little bit better. Thank you, DraftKings.
Yeah, shot DraftKings. Thanks for the boost that we haven't used yet, or won yet. We've used it, but we haven't won it.
Don't worry, they're making their money's worth off of us. But once we make it, oof.
Don't let us get hot.
Quick note, I did see, because Scotty again started off like shit and then played unbelievable, that he was, I think it was the last three events, he was like 7 over on the Thursday rounds, and he was like some 20 or 30 under the rest of the week. And it just, what is he doing? I know he's Scotty, and I know he has the capable powers that he has to do this. What is he doing on Thursdays?
It's horrible. His stats are horrible, though.
It's so
that,
bad.
right? Like they're really bad. Like they're really fucking bad. Like I know I normally take a few holes to warm up, but that's what she said. But I can't imagine a guy like that needing a full round to warm up. Like, what are you doing Tuesday and Wednesday? Like, why are you not ready to go on Thursday? It's got to be mental, right? Like, does he genuinely need that like thrill of comeback?
He's force-feeding himself.
Well?
He's force-feeding himself some adversity in his life.
Right. Because his life's too good.
It's like I need to be, 70th or worse heading into Friday. Just played preposterously bad, get it out of the way early, and then just like, all right, cracks his knuckles, does one of these, maybe backdoors his way into a top 10 or a top 5 or whatever it is. So yeah, who knows? It's very bizarre. It's very Scotty-like for sure, especially recently.
Hey, it's fun to watch though.
It is.
We really should be taking advantage of it to play that weekend bet of a top 10 or top 20 for him. But the problem is they're like, yeah, he's still going to do it.
Yeah, he was minus money, like top 10 and then the Sunday. And I'm like, he's however many strokes out. It was like top 5 was like plus 400. And I'm like, he's like 10 strokes out. What are we doing here? What are you guys doing? Yeah, they know. They're just like, yeah. They don't want to lose any more money on him.
I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I've lost too much. Too much.
All right, well, that does it for another episode here with the Tribe. Remember, if you like it, let everyone know, subscribe, share. Until next time, keeping the short grass, keep your drinks cold. And as always, especially this week, go Noles.
Noles.